The Adam Miller definition of doubt. I think doubt is just an ordinary thing. I think it's just a normal part of being a human being, the way that breathing is part of being a human being. It's life's way of signaling that you need something. I'm Adam Miller, the author of Letters to A Young Mormon. I think what qualifies me to talk about faith and doubt is, on the one hand, personal experience with trying to live a life that's faithful, but that also includes doubt as a normal part of that faithful experience. Well, doubt can go wrong. It can go bad. It can curdle and turn black and be dangerous in that respect, like any kind of human hunger. But I think it's a mistake to, in general, pathologize doubt as in itself a problem, when it's just a normal part of being human, of being a human being. I was at a conference and I had lunch with a friend, and we had a long talk at lunch about how he intended to leave the church and that he just didn't believe it anymore and what all of his problems and concerns were. And that conversation left me that day with a kind of hole inside, because it was obvious to me that I was already deeply familiar with all of the problems and concerns that he had. And I had them too, right? I shared them. I shared those problems and questions and concerns. And so I spent a lot of time that night on my knees in my hotel room in the dark, kind of wrestling with what, if anything, was different then for me than it was for him. And eventually I reached that point in my ongoing prayer where you give up, where you surrender and you turn it over to God. I acknowledged to God that I couldn't be responsible for many of the things that I was trying to be responsible for, right? That if God wanted to exist, that's his business, right? I can't make him exist or not. And that moment of surrender came for me with an immense feeling of relief, right? That these were not the kinds of things that were my responsibility, and that what it would mean to trust God would be to trust him with his own existence. If he wants to exist, he's going to have to do it. And what on my end is required is instead something much more modest, something much more practical. That what would be required on my end would not be to guarantee that all of those things were true, but that what would be required on my end would be to keep the promises that I'd made, regardless. To show up on Sunday, to do my home teaching, to have family home evening, to go to the temple, to be faithful to my wife, right? That's my responsibility. That's what I promised. And my intention is to keep that promise. And if the other half of the promise is kept, that's not my business. That's not up to me. God will have to make good on the rest.